Well, it's the last round. We're in Suzuka. We got we got a lot of changes around with the roster. We still have 16 drivers on the grid now, as we're following Priya. Just getting ourselves underway. Getting through that hairpin as well. It's going to be quite difficult to see how the cars all battle with each other going into that, and as well into Spoon. So we are following Priya, just getting to the end of that lap. We'll see where they can finish. There's still a few positions to fight for in the last race of the season, but it looks like Enigma, no, Kata, is going to take pole position for the sprint race here. And yeah, it's going to be a VEO 1-2 with Enigma on the front row as well. Quite interesting. We've got Kato and Matimo on the second row, Figuera and Guetzli behind them, Vlad, then Saucy, Urist and Goose in our top 10. Then we've got UR, Krunk, Priya, Kisia, Hank and Arya Carmona to round us off. Now, there's still a few things that could change this race. I know that the Bobcats are not too far away from NBZ and Push Racing, and Push Racing and NBZ are actually tied on points heading into the last race of the season. So we'll see how that fight for P5 in the standings goes. VEO also could leapfrog Riker Auto into second with a good result here, so we'll have to see how that plays out. Nuno, what are your thoughts?
I would say Kado in time trial at least didn't took that much time to have a really good lap there, and so might be interesting to see here. But Kader and Enigma, I think Enigma is certainly looking for revenge after what happened in JL, so I think basically the top 3 from this qualifying might be the main drivers to watch today.
I believe that's Kader's first career pole.
I believe so, yeah. Don't think he got a pole yet. Yeah, he hasn't got a pole this season. But he has it on now, so we'll see if he can convert that into a solid finish here. 5 laps underway. Kata stalls on the grid and he's lost a lot of positions immediately. It's going to be Enigma in the lead heading into turn 2, but it's Kato chasing real quick. He's going to get a penalty for that. Bit stiff on that one. Matimar taking the lead now. Figuera into the podium positions. 3-way fight between him, Enigma, and Guetzli as we enter the hairpin for the first time. There's still a bit of trouble. No, everyone gets through relatively cleanly. Enigma is losing even more positions as Kato is trying to fight his way back into the top 3. But at the moment, it's Kato leading the way. Matimar and Figuera right behind him. Actually, Matimar is going to get right up close. And Figuera gets through 2 cars in 2 corners right there and takes the lead. Oh, that was a great dive, but he's made a mistake heading out of the S's. And it's a 6 car. Oh my god, there's even more pile-ups going on. Figuera still holding onto the lead barely. He's going to get shoved off by Kata, who pushes through and gets into the lead of the race after that stall at the start. Kato makes a mistake, blocks Enigma, blocks Vlad as well. You got 3 cars going wide into the 3 cars going side by side in the Casio triangle, and that's the end of lap 2. Oh wow.
Yeah, Kader with a really fast recovery after the big stall at the start. It was like down to P9 with that, but now already fighting for the lead again.
Fighting for the lead again. Guetzli just falling behind his teammate Matimar off the hairpin. Enigma in P6. Then it's the Bobcats 7 and 8. Urist and Vlad fighting some difficulties at Spoon. And it's Saucy, Cassia, Priya, and Goose in 12th. Krunk, UR, Hank, and Arya Komoda at the back there. We're going to go back to the front because there's still a lot of fighting going on between our front 6 drivers. Still Figuera leading Kato, and Kato can't find a way through into the S's, and they're really duking it out. Kato makes a dive into the hairpin, and it looks like he's got the best line. Kato has fallen away quite a lot. He's gotten shoved off the side by one of the Rikers, and Figuera makes a mistake on the exit of Spoon, and it's going to give Kato the lead of the race as we end lap 4.
Very crucial lead, he needs to keep it well if he wants to win.
Yeah, he's got to try and make no mistakes from here. Figuera and Matimar still chasing. Enigma getting through 2 cars through the first 2 corners. And
Oh, there
Kato
goes
is
the
actually
mistake.
slowing down, so Enigma might be able to make a move into Dega curves, and he does, into P1. Kato still trying to fight it, he's got the inside of the hairpin, and he gets a penalty as we enter Spoon. Now, massive shove between Enigma and
my
Matamar, and Figueroa retakes the lead here and puts Guetzli into the podium positions for the first, I believe the first time this race. It's been completely messy at the very front here, and Figueroa now has another chance to maybe get away.
Iris was sort of emerging from behind, but now big crash there between him and Mati in turn 1, now down P6 and P7.
Yeah, they've lost a lot of time there. Matty especially, he was fighting for the lead just a lap and a half ago. And he is a long way back from that. It's now getting challenged by Vlad. Vlad goes through the inside, but it's going to turn to the outside as we enter Spoon. Tries to get a switch back, just doesn't have the grip for it. Matty holds P6. But it's still a really tight affair at the front because we've got 4 drivers within a second of each other. Kato making a mistake there is actually going to hold up everyone behind him. With that, it gives Figueroa some breathing room as we are halfway through lap 7 of 11 here in Suzuka. Ooh, a bit of trouble there from Kato. He still holds on to P2.
happening.
Enigma into the inside of Spoon. The grip is really wearing down now, but he's going to take the position. Wetzley finding some problems with the 2 drivers in front of him, losing a bit of pace. Enigma makes a mistake there, and he's going to fall to 4th, actually. Kata actually has been climbing back up a
Oh,
little
there
bit
goes
as well,
Kato.
so might be able
Kato
to
catching Figueroa now.
get back up there. And yeah, Kato is right there. Makes the
Oh,
move,
the
but
dive!
the Figueroa at the switchback is going to hold on to P1 there.
That's smart driving there from Figo.
Smart driving. Kato heads into the inside of Spoon. Just gets shoved off there. Figueroa just saying, "Hey, this is my space on the racetrack here." But it's going to be Kato who gets a better exit off of the chicane. But Kato makes a bad mistake into turn 2, so it's Figueroa still in the lead with 3 laps to go. It's Enigma in P3, holding off from Guetzli and Kato in P5. Then it's Vlad ahead of Matty, Urist and Saucy just outside the points now in P9. Goose and UR behind them as well. They go back to the lead because Figueroa is maybe gapping Kato just a tiny bit. He's just outside of Slipstream. And if Figueroa can hold this one, it could prove very, very fruitful for him. It's very tight now that the tyres are really losing their grip. Kato trying to find a way through the S's to get some extra time on Figueroa, but he's actually going to get challenged by Enigma, as they pull through. Kato makes a mistake in the hairpin, he's going to lose P2, he might even lose P3 as Guetzli gets on the side of him. Enigma still in the fight for this win, he's really caught up to Figueroa now. He's on the slipstream, heading into the final lap of the race. It's even more trouble for Kato now, as Kato is also in the fight for P3 now. It's 3 cars that could be finishing in P3. Guetzli gets through on Kato as I say that. And Enigma is still fighting. Figueroa makes a huge mistake and Enigma goes through into the lead of the race on the last lap. Just gets by on the hairpin. And that could be the decisive moment in this race. Figueroa still got the slipstream, so it might still challenge for one last move into the hairpin, into the chicane, It's going to be neck and neck. And I think Figueroa just took it on the last straight. He just took it away. Oh, wow. Kata ends up getting 3rd at the end there too. Oh, that is quite the race there. So it's Kata taking it over Guetzli and Kato. You are in P6. Matty and Vlad actually got P8 at the end there. Oh, wow. Very tight result from all the drivers on the field there. And Enigma taking the extra point from the fastest lap. But it's going to be Figueroa just getting past him on that last dash to the line.
You was not P6 when you do the rundown there. He's P like 11 or 10 or something.
I was going to say, he was a bit lower than that. He wasn't right next to Kato on the timing sheet. So I think it's going to be Figueroa P1, and Enigma and Kato on the podium. Guetzli and Kato 4th and 5th, and it's going to be Matty, Vlad, and Urist who get the points for 6th, 7th, and 8th after that. Then it's going to be Saucy, Goose, Ewer, Priya, Hag, Kissia, Krunk, and Karamoda, taking us to the feature race very soon. Well, it was a bit of chaos in the sprint, as it usually is, but that was a very lively race indeed. Could we see more in the feature? Who knows?
Yeah, and I think in the end this race we got the fight that we didn't have in JL, because those two, Enigma and Figo, they were the title protagonists in the third division, and now leading 1-2 here, which was very interesting to see. But yeah, a lot of drivers at some point, they looked to have the bigger chance, but no one managed to just get away and just keep it together. Though that might be something that you need to capitalize for the sprint, which should be interesting. 29 laps. I think the softs becomes quite easy to use. They are simply the dominant tire, but let's see if someone will try to maybe do some slipstreaming and saving one pit stop and using the mediums or hards here. But yeah, should be certainly a very interesting race as well.
Okay, I find out. There we go. Hopefully.
You? Do you mean like right now? They're not saying anything.
I'm here.
Alright. Well, a few little protests going on. I'm not too sure what that is about. Can't really verify anything for now, but I'm going to go into the feature all the same. We're going to follow Eurus for this first lap. And what are you expecting? I mean, you've already said that the softs are the strongest tyre here, but we do have a reduced compared to UL, we do have a reduced amount of laps, so every pit stop is a bit more critical when it comes to that overall strategy. Let's see if the car's just getting through all the same. And after one lap of qualifying, gonna have Figueroa on a 33.15. Decent lap. Ewer actually beats that with a 33.08. That'll be our provisional pole for the time being. It's Eurus in P3, then Kato, Goose, and Matiba in P7. See if Kissia can improve on that 37.5 he put through in the last lap. Don't want to be that far back from the front of the field, of course. So a few drivers are improving. To have Goose moving to P7. But it's still Ewer in P1. Can anyone improve? It feels like most drivers couldn't improve on their second lap, so...
Yeah, that's interesting now. The third lap could do a big shake-up here.
Oh, definitely. Could someone get under the 33-second barrier, perhaps? Might be tough.
Enigma should improve.
Ooh, Kato moves into P2. And Kato
How
moves
big
into
improvement?
P3. Figueroa still on that 33.1. And it looks like that's it.
Ooh, Enigma P11.
P11, wow, yeah. So it's going to be Ewer starting us off from pole, Kato alongside, just 1/10 ahead of Kato in P3. 100th, sorry. And then further 200ths to Figueroa in P4. Then we've got Eurus in P5, Gwetsley and Vlad, then followed by Goose, Matiba and Hank. On the 6th row, it'll be Enigma starting on P11, then it's Saucy, Priya, Krunk, Kissia and Arya Komoda So still not quite able to take us lower than a 33-second lap, but you are cutting it close, and overall pretty solid qualifying from the top 5 here. All within 1/10 of each other.
Yeah, very interesting to see here. Yuri surprisingly up there in P5, but Yola also big surprise. P1, then also Hank in the top 10 in qualifying. Enigma really having a lot of work to do here at the start.
Oh, for
He
sure.
wants to put himself up there again.
Yes.
Yeah, having to pass the big laggy drivers or the pingy drivers like Kuz and
I mean,
all of that.
especially
But
at the
we will
front
see
two
how
as well.
things
It's gonna be a bit of issues at the start. I'd assume. We're getting started with our feature race, and Cat actually starts off a lot better than the sprint. But Figueroa makes a dive into turn 1 and is actually made of several positions there. It's a lot of trouble as we get through the S's for the first time. Enigma falling away. Kata has also dropped down. Oh, Quetzley makes a mistake entering the hairpin, but it's even more trouble behind him. Enigma falling all the way to 12th after a pretty decent start, all things considered. But it's still Yua in the lead. It's Kato, Figueroa, Urist holding onto P3 now on the medium tyre. We're going to see if he can make that alternate strategy stick. He's only one of the few who has decided not to start on the soft tyre. Kato getting a penalty there, and it's let Kato run away with P2. Oh, might be a potential. I'm still all doing people just diving it down into the hairpin. Vlad falling away there, and so is his teammate Urist. It's going to be Yua almost a second in front of Kata, and then a further second as we've got a 3-car dash. Not 3 cars, even 4 or 5 into the Casio Triangle, the chicane right at the end of the lap. It's going to be Figueroa holding P3, Kato 4th, Vlad in 5th now, then it's Matty, Goose, and Saucy in P8, then Cassia, Enigma through, Urist and Wetzley in 11th and 12th. Really struggling to start us off with the poor crashes they've had at the start. It's Ara Carmona, Priya, Hank, and Krunk at the end, but it is Yua still in the lead now by almost 2 seconds as we start lap 4.
That's the power of getting away on the first lap, as everyone else is settled suddenly for second place, and they have some big massive battles, losing a lot of time, and Yoa just running away now.
Yeah, it feels like the closest thing at the moment is battle for P3 here. Kato, Figueroa, and Vlad just trying to behave a little bit. Vlad is taking evasive maneuvers, trying to not get any extra time loss. But he will have to deal with the 2 drivers in front of him who could be making mistakes. Figueroa is desperate to get through the Frenchman here. Vlad gets through as well, and Kato has lost 2 positions in that corner. He's dropped down to P5. Figueroa is still struggling as they go through the S's. Sorry. So it's actually going to be Vlad who's going to have a little bit of breathing room in P3 for the moment. Figueroa makes a move into the sprint curve, and he's back into P3. Kato is still holding onto the slipstream, so the fight might be over. No, Vlad makes a mistake into the chicane, and he's back in 5th. And Saucy now into P6, fighting Kassir in 7th. This is quite the glop for both drivers, I think, especially after the sprint race. But yeah, if both drivers can coordinate, maybe they can hold on to these positions, maybe grab something more. No, but Kassir makes the dive into the hairpin. You do have to remember that Saucy has a little bit of ping, so it might be a bit awkward for Kassir to drive there. A bit of lag overall for the server there. But right behind Kassir, it's Urist and Gwetzley who have both climbed up to fight for P8, but
Ooh, got already to the pits.
I'm not sure if that was intentional or not. I think Gwetzley wanted to go, but Matimar certainly didn't. As both Rikers double stack and make their first stops. Who else also made that stop? It was Kata, who's now into P9 from from P2. So maybe try to get that undercut on Yua, but he is on the medium, so we'll have to see how that tyre strategy works out. I'm going to go follow Yua now, and he's still staying out for another lap on the soft tyres.
So if Yoha managed to still keep the lead when he leaves the pits, that will be amazing for him.
Figueroa in, and so is Saucy and Vlad. They're going to get overtaken by all the medium runners, and also Gwetzley is now fighting Vlad on track, so the undercut has definitely worked out well for Wetzley. Still into P10 on track. Matimar and Saucy now fighting away on those fresh tyres. Go back to the front now because it's Yua and Kato both making their first stops of the race. Gonna see how close Kato is, and he is right on Yua's tail there. Ooh. But I think he's just lost the slipstream though, and he's on the medium.
Yeah,
so
he might have lost it there.
this might be a big, big chance for Yua to take the win here. Kato still, we'll have to see how his pace goes on those medium tyres, and perhaps he's going for a 3-stop, but Yua is also stretching the softs as well, so we'll see if his pace on the used softs is comparable. Of course, that undercut for Kato really helping him out in terms of track position, though, in terms of how close he is to Yua. Figueroa now in P3. A few drivers making a bit of errors now. It's Wetzley now in P4. Pretty strong recovery, all things considered, from the start of the race, as he's already made that stop too, so he's made the undercut really work out for him. He's just getting followed by Vlad now in P5. Then behind them is Kato, who's on very fresh tyres compared to everyone in front or behind him. But it's Matimar now on his slipstream and trying to make a move here. No, he just holds on to the slip, but he makes a bit of a mistake getting out of the hairpin on the last... Oh, not on the hairpin, the chicane entering the last corner. And that also influences Saucy right behind them in P8. And it's Enigma now, who's made that stop and is in P9, so he's still got a lot of work to do if he's going to salvage some big points today. Then it's Kissia holding Urist, who's actually made that immediate stop for soft tyres instead of the mediums he started on. He tried to get through Kissia without too much trouble here. And it's actually Goose as well on the hards, who might try to benefit from this little scuffle between the two drivers, and it looks like the Bobcat is through into P10. Going to go to Vlad, who's actually gotten past Wetzley, so you have to think Wetzley is on older tyres now, so maybe the slipstream is the better course of action for the Swiss driver. It's Kato and Matimar behind them, not too far back actually. And Kato does have the fresher tyres. Matimar is still trying to urge him on, trying to make him go faster if he can. And you can really see from the strategies of all the drivers, it is an absolute softs fest. Oh, big mistake.
It's interesting though.
Yeah, go ahead.
There's no big groups, but people are just still relatively close to each other right now. Got like Kader not that far ahead from Figueroa, then you got this Vlad and Gletzi group here also close to the Japanese driver, then you got Kado, now Matimar going for the second pit stop. It's the first driver to do it.
Yeah, Matimar on that early pit stop onto the mediums, so perhaps he wants to run the mediums just a little bit longer and then end his stint on the hards. End his race on the hards for one last stint, but he will have the pace on. I'd assume he had the pace on the drivers on all the soft tyres. We'll have to see if anyone reacts. For now, though, Matimar is in P9, just in front of Urist. And
Figueroa to the pits.
He
might have a battle for second place.
Pits, actually.
We might have a fight for the second place because Kader is on all the mediums, and I think he was getting caught up by drivers behind him. So.
It's Matimar who's actually ended up behind both drivers now. He's really having to deal with Urist behind, Urist in front of him now, who's actually gotten past him on the last lap. And it's Gwetzley, his teammate in the Riker Auto, also has made that stop onto mediums and is just sitting behind the softs runner. You do have to think that even with the wear, the softs do have the pace on the straights, so.
Yeah, that's the big thing, and it's a hell of a big straight. From the spoon until the finish line.
Kato with the extra lap done, he's going to go back on the soft tyres. So it's still Yua, 9 seconds up because he hasn't made that second stop just yet. I think he will in just a moment's time. Big mistake there from Urist. Matimar gets in trouble there, and Gwetzley is almost through both cars. Urist really squeezing him into the spoon curve though. And it's a 4-car gap as UR makes his stop and is still in the lead comfortably. Eurus gets out of trouble into the pits, and it's still 3 cars fighting on track. Kato gets through here on the softs, so he'll be hoping to get away from these drivers, but he's making a bit of errors there, and Matibar is back into P5 off that. Frenchman not having a good time of it here, and he's even more mistakes here from the 2 Riker autos, and it's just slowing them down really, and it's giving Vlad all the room to run away in P4. He's actually quite close to Kata still, and Kata right close to Figueroa. Kata is on, I believe, 1 lap fresher tyres, if not, they're both from, yeah, 1 lap fresher for Kata compared to both Vlad and Figueroa. And it is still UR in front, so these 3 drivers still trying to make something happen to get on the podium. It's Kato back into P5 as I follow. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Yola did manage to have a very good control race, as I said. He got away at the start, then he just been pitting later and just having better tires in any next stint, and I think he's just pretty much having this racing control right now.
Yeah, he's been really happy on the 8-lap softs stint. Ooh, a little bit of teleporting from Kato. Matibar definitely looking a bit like confused about that, just based on his behaviour of his car there. But it's still a train. It's still a French train for PRO with the 2 Riker autos in pursuit. Behind them, Enigma now into P8, but he will surely have to pit one more time. Perhaps onto another set. It might be an early stop to get onto the mediums to end the race. It's Saucy in P9, Nearest in P10. Both drivers will probably still need to pit one more time. Saucy, absolutely. I'd say Eurus won't be able to make it on the softs either. Goose will also be hoping to make one more stop for the race. He's been on
Kata up to second.
Yeah, Kata. I missed that because Kata has actually been catching Figo for a few laps now, and he's actually gotten past. And Figo
there goes Figo again.
Sees the pit stop and is happy to go onto it. And
what
happened to Yua? What's happened to Yua? I think he might have had some sort of issue there, and he's completely lost his gap. Oh dear,
that's like huge. A controller issue.
Yeah, must have been, because he just completely lost it onto the S's, and he lost so much time there. It was at least a 3-second gap, 3-second time loss there. And Yua is now in big trouble, because not only is he way closer to Kata and Vlad, he's also got to deal with Figo's undercut as well. So we'll see how that plays out. In particular,
might be better for. Would be better for Yoga to just stay out now and pit now on this lap with always having better tires than Figo, but yeah, Kader now still close. It might change things, but yeah, I would say Yoga does need to pit on this lap to avoid Kader undercutting him.
Oh, absolutely.
Potentially.
We're gonna see what the South African decides to do, and he is in for his last stop, and so is Kader, and so is Vlad.
Everything's coming together now.
Also in at the same time, so is Kato, and it's going to leave Figo still closer
to
the
second place, not getting the slipstream.
Yeah, hasn't gotten the slipstream, which is the main thing that you wanted to avoid there. Big end result. You are just holding onto the lead by the skin of his teeth. After that mistake, Kato in P3, and maybe has an opportunity to get into P2 with the stronger soft tyres. He's only got to run them for about 7 laps, so there's every chance he could be able to overtake Figueroa once again. Vlad in P4 looks quite settled. It's Eurus heading into the pits out of P5. It is a big train between the 2 Riker autos and the PRO of Kato, all fighting for P5 here, all on the soft tyres. It's going to be quite messy between them, I bet. Enigma.
Yeah, they both did an amazing job just stay behind Kato. Now they've pitted all at the same time, and they have the equal tires, and now they can attack him, and that's what they're trying to do now, to beat him for
maybe some teammate shenanigans going on here, perhaps?
Yeah, that could be... Well, actually could be a good shield here for Matimar to always stay ahead of this train.
Absolutely. Could go further back. Enigma on the softs, P8. Eurus just pit the last lap, he's in P9, and then it's Saucy quite a long ways from Goose in 11th, so you should think that P10 is practically secure here. Cassia is actually catching onto Goose on the mediums, so Goose on the mediums, Cassia on the soft, so perhaps he might be able to sneak into 11th with a few better laps. Priya a long way back in P13. And it's Hank,
Kato for second.
Arya Kamoda. We're going to head back to Figo and Kata. Kata makes a switch back into turn 2. I caught that right on time. And he's gone into second place. And it looks like he might just be far enough to run away here as they both enter the hairpin. It's a lovely exit from Kata. And he's gotten away from the slipstream effect. And Figo is really having to tend to those tyres now. He might lose the podium here with Vlad chasing him down.
Yeah, really good situation for him now. We picked the undercut strategy and then having worse tires on this stint, and now he's really paying the price now.
Oh, absolutely. He's still got to hold on to this for 3 more laps. And Vlad is no slouch when it comes to pace. He will definitely be able to catch up to Figo. He already has. Will he try to make a move here? No, he lets Figo have a bad exit, but he just gets stopped there. But it's still Vlad getting through. Spoon, Figo got to the inside. They're side by side into the back straight, heading in towards 130R. It's quite tight, but it looks like Vlad has just gotten past Figo here into P3. But Figo does have the slipstream. He's got to go on the inside into turn 1. Still holds on to P3. Vlad's still fighting it. Figueroa is just fighting it so hard on these mediums now. Oh, big punt. Figueroa getting a penalty there. And that might be the battle settled here. Vlad into P3, but Figueroa does have the slipstream. He'll still be attacking him as we go through towards the last lap. We're going to go further behind here. Matimar has gotten away from the 2 battling drivers behind him. Kato still behind Wetsley. Fighting it out.
Kato getting close to Yoga here.
Kato is
might
getting
not
close
be
to
over.
Yoga. It might not be over there. It's still about a 7/10 gap. Yua makes a big mistake into the hairpin. And he's actually... Kata's gotten into the slipstream now. It is neck and neck heading into Spoon. Yua is finding the grip terrible. Kata is right on his tail here. Both drivers entering 130R. Yua makes a mistake. Kata gets through on the hairpin. And I think he's going to take the win. He has. Kata absolute daylight robbery, taking the win there from Yua. Vlad ends up in P3. It's going to be Figo in P4, Matty in P5. It's going to be Wetsley, Kato, Enigma. No, Eurus actually took P8 ahead of Enigma. And then Saucy in P10. Wow, what a result right there. Just 1/10 in it at the end, yeah. The pressure really got to you at the end there. That's mental. Kata, insane result. Insane drive after a relatively not the greatest start, of course, and he had to battle his way through the field. Wow. It's going to be Goose finishing in 11th, and Cassia, Priya, Krunk, Hank, and Arakamoto just rounding us off as they enter the last few corners now. Wow. That was quite the exciting race. I'm very excited about that last lap.
Yeah, it was quite something. I just saw it like out of nowhere. Like Kata just getting close when he took like Yoga would have been able to keep the gap.
But in the end, yeah, Kata taking it over Yua the last lap. Just barely, just 1/10 in it. Vlad will join them on the podium. Figo in P4, the undercut just not working out for him. Matamar helped immensely by his teammate Wetsley, but they guarantee a 5-6 from Riker Auto. Good result for the team. Then it's Kato in P7. Eurus almost actually getting to him in P8 there. Eurus had a mega last stint there, getting past Enigma and almost getting past Kato in P7. But yeah, good result for him. Enigma in P9, then Saucy in P10. Further back, Goose on the ultimate strategy in P11. Cassia actually taking the fastest lap of the race in P12. It's going to be Priya, Kronk, Hank, and Arya Kamoda rounding our grid for today. Well, what a season finale that was!
big race that was there. Figueroa really the heartbreaking loss there right at the end, but Keller with an amazing win. Also Vlad out of nowhere, third place, really showing that he still has the talent up there. Also Figo, not a bad race at all as well. Then Rick, the Riker
The
Auto
Riker
also
autos did
looking
really well,
solid.
especially because Wetzley fell to about 13th at the start there as well.
Then we got Enigma, probably a disappointing race. I think he could have been up there at least in the top 5 today. But things just didn't went well after that bottle qualifying. Also, Big Saucy in the top 10, really nice at Kizir also with the fastest lap.
Yeah. Very entertaining race, all things considered. That will be the season over for Challenger League. Season 10. It's been a bit of a ride. We've seen an absolute masterclass from some drivers. One driver in particular who isn't here, and our world champion Kraft is going to be heading on to bigger and better things hopefully next season. But we'll have to see how this Challenger League progresses next season, because we do have a few drivers who did drive this season who are banned for next season. So gotta really think, will Canna be able to hold on to this form? Perhaps we challenge for the title next season. Can Canna make a run? Could Figo push through to the next level? You know, it's very, very fun to speculate on. But for now, that will be all for today. I've been Corvid, I've been joined by Nuno, and we will see you next season.